Suella WaveTheMenIn, the Home Secretary, is now joining us, and now you usefully can hear me as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. So much easier when we can both hear each other. Thank you very much indeed. I must ask you, first of all, obviously, about Sudan and the airlift. We've got Rear Admiral Chris Parry, who's carried out these sort of evacuations himself before. He's rather more, perhaps, sympathetic to the government and the military and the diplomats trying to organise this evacuation than many in the public, worrying that we've been a bit slow to act. Just 200-300 people evacuated. Have we been slower than other countries, and is there a reason for that?
No, I don't think we have been slower. This is a complex situation. It's fast moving. There's now a ceasefire. We want to make the most of that ceasefire for the support that we provide British nationals. But the Prime Minister's been intensively leading the operation, and that's why we've got an evacuation programme which is taking place right now. Working with the Foreign Office, over 1,000 military personnel have been deployed to Sudan. I've sent Border Force officers out to Sudan to help with the processing. There's a huge team working on this to rapidly support British nationals.
A lot of people are going to be worried about the prospect of Border Force staff going out there. They haven't covered themselves with much glory when it comes to our borders back here lately.
Well, I think let me pay tribute to Border Force officers who are doing a very hard job in Sudan right now for the British government to support British nationals. But when it comes to our borders more generally, again, I mean, I think that when it comes to illegal migration, yes, we have had very, very severe challenges in recent times right now. 45,000 people arriving here illegally last year, £6 million being spent every day on accommodating those people in hotels, £3 billion spent in 1 year alone on our asylum costs. So it is an unacceptable situation. That's why the Prime Minister made stopping the boats one of his 5 core pledges of the year.
Well, I want to talk about that pledge. The illegal migration bill, of course, comes back to the House of Commons for its third reading today, a vote in the House of Commons, and then it goes to the House of Lords. First of all, do you expect that actually it's going to be ripped to shreds in the House of Lords? We've already seen lots of amendments on different sides. Some I think you would have very much welcomed, some perhaps not so much. But do you expect that bill to survive the House of Lords? We know there's so much opposition to many of the facets of that bill already in the House of Lords.
Listen, this is our Parliament. Our Parliament is there to speak for the British people. This government is introducing legislation that the British people overwhelmingly want. They want us to stop the boats. Our measures that I've introduced will design a scheme whereby if you arrive here illegally, you'll be detained and swiftly removed to a safe country like Rwanda or to your home country if it's safe. I urge my colleagues in the House of Lords to get behind these measures. They are absolutely vital for us to stop the boats. They're vital to stop people making this treacherous journey in the first place. I describe our measures as humanitarian at core, actually, because people are paying tens of thousands of pounds to people smuggling gangs. They're dying on the Channel in a hope to get to a life in the UK. They should not be making that journey in the first place, leaving a safe country like France. So we need to bring an end to this practice, and our measures contained in the illegal migration bill will be a big tool in helping us fix the problem.
What would be the metric for judging success for that bill? Your boss, Rishi Sunak, said we're going to stop the boats. That's one of his 5 pledges. Look, no one realistically thinks all the boats are going to stop. We're not going to stop that very lucrative trade, the people smugglers and those who want to be trafficked here. But what would you regard, let's say we go to general election 2024, spring or autumn, what would you be able to go to the British public with and say, we have had a success at dealing with this issue? What would that be?
I think it will be very obvious. You know, what I don't want to see is 45,000 people crossing the Channel in a year. I don't want to see us spending £6 million a day on hotel accommodation with 40,000 people in hotels in towns and cities around the United Kingdom. So I can't put an exact figure on it, but I think it will be very obvious whether we've succeeded or not in stopping the boats.
You're not going to give me a number?
Listen, if you look at the Australian experience, and we've lent heavily on what they did, and they succeeded in tackling their problem of illegal migration. They were receiving thousands of boat people, as they called them, coming to Australia illegally via maritime routes. When they were able to relocate those illegal arrivals to Papua New Guinea or Nauru, they saw a dramatic decrease in a matter of months in a short period of time in the number of people arriving on boats. So I think it will be very obvious to the objective bystanders to whether we will have succeeded in our goal to stop the boats.
A lot of the criticism of the illegal migration bill and all of the efforts of the government on this area, in fact, Home Secretaries before you for quite a long time, has been about sort of the UK becoming some sort of international pariah, that we're sort of somehow, you know, ignoring international law, these amendments in the illegal migration bill to actually basically say that the European Court of Human Rights can't, with an interim injunction, just sort of stop the British government going ahead with deportations. These challenges in the appeal court right now over these deportation flights to Rwanda. Are you concerned about how Britain will be perceived internationally or not?
I disagree with the suggestion that our measures somehow make us an international pariah. My conversation with international partners has reflected back to me a very strong interest amongst other countries in what we're doing. What we're doing, our scheme with Rwanda, is pioneering and it's innovative. And many countries in the Western world are really grappling with unprecedented numbers of illegal migration. At the EU level, for example, they're really working hard to try and find a solution. But it's clear that in many European nations they are seeing unprecedented numbers, they are running out of capacity, it's causing huge political challenges for them. No one many other countries are really struggling to find a solution, so many of them are inquiring about what we are doing. And as for our international reputation, I would actually say that our reputation internationally is incredibly high. We've just joined a world-leading trade partnership in the Pacific. We've led the efforts with Ukraine, leading other nations in that effort. So I really challenge this perception that somehow our robust approach to illegal migration could somehow undermine our standing on the global stage.
Well, indeed. Can I ask you also about, well, I suppose how you thought, forgetting the international prior claims that we're having. Again, I don't personally agree with those claims, but you get a lot of personal abuse. There's a lot of talk about how, Priti Patel was targeted by civil servants, that Dominic Raab was targeted, that you're next on the list. People are referring to you as racist, as uncaring, xenophobic. I mean, you name it, every name under the sun. Does that affect you personally? Does that affect your mindset? Does that affect the work that you do as Home Secretary when you're under that level of personal attack and insult?
If I'm honest, Julia, I think I don't have much time for personal attacks. I'm focused on the day job and I'm working flat out to tackle illegal migration, keep the British people safe, get more police and reduce crime and get back to common sense policing. That's my focus, and I'd rather be judged on my actions and outcomes. But I think really and realistically, anyone in these roles, I think Home Secretary in particular, you're dealing with really controversial and sensitive matters, and I think issues like this come with the territory.
Okay, can I ask you about police numbers as well? 20,000 extra recruits are what we were promised. Those figures haven't dropped yet, but many are predicting that you've actually hit that target. But is that going to make a difference to people actually worried about the clear-up rate of crime? We've seen, whether it's rape, whether it's burglary, whether it's shoplifting, police just don't turn up anymore.
I want common sense policing. I want the police to turn up to complaints about antisocial behaviour. I want burglary to be properly investigated. I want violence to come down. We are seeing really good reductions in crime in recent years alone, but we're very confident that we're on track to meet our target to recruit 20,000 new police officers, a pledge that we made in our manifesto in 2019. And if we do achieve this goal, we will have a record number of police officers ever in the history of policing in England and Wales. I think that's a great achievement for policing, a great achievement, if I may say, for the Home Office, and a great achievement for this Conservative government.
I mean, putting back in the police officers that we'd previously lost, to be fair. Just finally, last question. Chief Economist of the Bank of England, Hugh Pill, he's told Brits to accept that they're worse off, stop asking for pay rises because they will be inflationary. He is on £190,000 a year. He's paid more than you are as Home Secretary, as the Chief Economist. I don't know what bonuses he gets if they, I don't know, ever accidentally get anything wrong at the Bank of England. What do you make of what he had to say?
Well, listen, there's been a lot of disputes about pay recently. I think the government's taken the right approach in a firm but measured approach when it comes to public sector pay disputes. Recommendations which are made by the independent body have been largely accepted by the government, whether it comes to the railways or the health sector or the teaching sector. We need to ensure that inflation comes down. That's why the Prime Minister, again, made one of his other 5 pledges to halve inflation. That's how we're going to get the cost of living down. That's how we're going to enable people to retain more of their money, make their wages go further. That's a key pledge, and that's why we need to be pretty measured and balanced when it comes to pay requests.
Home Secretary Suella WaveTheMenIn, I'll let you get on with the day job. Thank you very much for talking to us there from a rather noisy Home Office, I have to say.